Hi, my name's Emma Bombonato. I'm the Manager of Environmental Sustainability at the Sydney Opera House. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about how the Sydney Opera House undertook a climate risk assessment as part of the Climate Risk Ready New South Wales program. I'll share with you the steps we took, some of the outcomes and actions that resulted from doing the climate risk assessment, and also some helpful lessons that we learned along the way. You probably won't need much of an introduction to the Sydney Opera House. We do have a unique context, not only as an Australian icon, but also as a World Heritage listed site. The Opera House is one of the world's busiest performing arts centres, with more than 2,000 performances and events held annually. Each year, around 10 million people visit the precinct, and over 2 million people are part of our online community. One of our most important responsibilities is to be a leader in sustainability, to raise awareness about issues that are important to our society and to inspire positive change in our community. Some of our most recent sustainability achievements include becoming carbon neutral through Climate Active certification, achieving a 5-star Green Star performance rating, investing our annual $2.4 million electricity spend into renewable energy projects in New South Wales, and recently launching our most ambitious environmental action plan yet. Our 4th Environmental Action Plan will take the Opera House to its 50th year anniversary in 2023. Along with our community plans, the Opera House has committed to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or the Global Goals. Our community plans include Reconciliation Action, Accessibility and Environment collectively contribute to 9 of the 17 Global Goals. Global Goal 13 is climate action. One of our most important commitments is to prepare for the challenges of our changing climate. This is why we jumped at the opportunity to participate in the pilot of the Climate Risk Ready New South Wales program. The Opera House has seen a lot of change over almost 50 years, and as custodians of the Opera House and of the environment we live, we need to make sure we're prepared for the next 50 years and beyond. The first place to start was to ensure that our executive team, who have ultimate accountability for risk management, was engaged and on board with the process. The next step was to review our climate risk maturity as an organisation by using the Climate Risk Ready Health Check tool. A first pass of the tool was completed by me with the support of the team from the Department of Planning, Industry and Environment. From here, we shared responses with relevant Opera House stakeholders who helped provide more detail, identify processes that were already in place or clarify answers to questions that emerged. Next, we held workshops with staff from all parts of the organisation, ensuring we had broad representation and input into the process, from those handling strategic risks like heritage, asset management and the enterprise risk team, to operational staff from event and building operations, emergency planning and response, food and beverage, safety and visitor experience. Everyone plays a role to ensure we understand the risks we are likely to encounter in each scenario, which helps us make more informed decisions. At the workshop, we share the results of the initial health check, which further helped us validate our answers and understand what's really happening in our organisation. We found that by using the tool, we rated ourselves as having an intermediate level of maturity. This means that we're doing well, but we still have a little bit of work to do to raise awareness and fully embed how we address risk in our organisation. The workshop was used to identify key risks and categorise them. Throughout this process, we identified some priority areas, most notably the impact of rising sea levels, peak high tides and storm surges on Opera House assets, operations and infrastructure, severe weather events such as storms or heat waves, which could impact our guest or patron experience, the risk to our supply chain, which supports major operations such as our performances or food and beverage, and the disruption of services such as public transport. A number of weeks passed, which allowed us to consolidate and reflect on our findings from our workshop. A second and final workshop was held with the same team. We shared our list of priority risks and identified controls that were already being implemented or needed to be considered. We have recorded and considered these risks for incorporation into our strategic risk register. As a result of both workshop sessions, the team realised that a number of the risks had already been identified and were already being managed and responded to by our operations teams. We also learned that a deeper dive was required to better understand the vulnerabilities associated with the risk of sea level rise, king tides and storm surges. We have since followed up with a more detailed study. And we've also identified that we need to consider the way in which we treat future or emerging risks for incorporation into our long-term strategic approach. This is important because the process enables the team to start thinking about the risk from short, medium, and a long-term perspective. Working through the Climate Risk Ready process using the Health Check tool and receiving climate risk assessment guidance has been really valuable to engage stakeholders in our organisation, from our executive team through to our operational staff. As a result, the stakeholder group has a deeper understanding of the risks, impacts, and timeframes associated with the scenarios presented. The group were highly engaged in the process and are committed to considering risk as a strategic priority and further embedding into our decision-making. As a state, national, and World Heritage listed site, understanding the risks of climate change will help us make better decisions in the interests of managing and conserving the cultural significance of the place for future generations. As we progress, we are finding opportunities for improvement, and we are confident that we have the information and are building the capacity and the capability to continue to mitigate risk and implement adaptation actions. We appreciate this is an iterative process, and the plan is to reassess how we are progressing by holding regular stakeholder workshops and continuing to share our experience and our learnings. Thank you for listening, and best of luck with your climate risk assessment.